Gentleman, Mr. Morelle.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to the ranking member. And thank you, gentlemen, for not only for being here, for your service. If I could just follow up, Mr. Adderholt's question, Admiral, can you talk about the integration of autonomous systems and unmanned systems with manned systems? I know it's an attempt to reduce risk to personnel, distribute operations, expand maritime domain awareness. What have you learned over the last several years in terms of the development and experimentation about how, what insights have you learned and sort of how have you used that, and will it influence the long-term integration of autonomous systems and manned systems?
So, sir, we have 3 fleet areas principally that are working this now: Task Force 59 and 5th Fleet, Task Force 66 and 6th Fleet, and the 4th Fleet. Now, there are different needs for those. I would tell you, necessity is the mother of invention. So Admiral Cooper, when he was the 5th Fleet commander, found himself ship poor. So he invested in unmanned technologies to do maritime domain awareness with things like a sail drone, which is a persistent vessel that can do maritime domain awareness. Similarly, 4th Fleet has adopted that. The work being done in the 6th Fleet is interesting because it ports right over to support Admiral Kaler and Admiral Paparo in the Indo-Pacific, because those same technologies can be used there in a manner that's effective. So it's almost a battle lab for the Indo-Pacific. So there's learning across all our fleets. The geography drives the use case for what you need for that. But our initial focus is this thing called non-traditional sea denial. Ultimately, though, I want to get to a hybrid fleet that engages our unmanned capabilities alongside our ships, supporting our submarines in the air wing of the future for manned to unmanned teaming. So to me, that's the future state. And last week I was in San Diego with Admiral Paparo and Admiral Kaler, looking at their experimentation and rehearsal of these very technologies.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I want to, maybe if I can, just expand on the Indo-Pacific and the use. Undersea dominance, I understand, is critical to deterrence and force projection. I'm concerned about what appears to be a little bit of a mismatch between rising demand for anti-submarine warcraft capabilities and relatively flat funding for key enablers like sonar buoys. I think I'm saying that right. It's a weird word. Inventory levels are reportedly well below the global floor, which raises questions about anti-submarine warfare. Could you just
I think you're spot on. We got ourselves in a non-effective position for sonar buoy manufacturers, but we've increased our sonar buoys for everything but the MAC buoy now. So we want to get back to that global floor. We will continue to invest in it. We appreciate your support in that investment, and it's a key enabler for us to invest in. But now we have 2 companies, Sparta and Lockheed Martin, that are individually producing sonar buoys. They're not producing something that have to be married up together. I think that's a much better solution. And my last stats are about 7% increase is what we're shooting for every year. So I think that is an area we definitely need to continue to invest in.
Very good. I just wanted to come back to something. I'm new to this committee, and when we had Secretary Driscoll, I think he said something, and I'm paraphrasing, essentially that there were 35,000 people in the Army related to acquisitions. But upon further conversation, it turned out that it seemed like there were about 5,000. The rest were engineers and people who were involved with sustainment. So, Mr. Secretary, when you say that there's 56,000 people, help educate me. What does that mean? Are they actually all doing acquisitions, or are they doing other things that relate to sustainment and making sure that the engineering and the contracts, et cetera, are appropriate?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. There's actually close to 80,000 if you count third-party and contractors, but the total number is 55,833, of which 51,438 are civilian. In cost estimating, there's 700. In financial management, there's 2,127. In contracting, there's 7,959. In engineering and technical management, there's 27,031. In lifestyle logistics, there's 7,154. In program management, there's 7,483. Test and evaluation is 2,990. Other, which I'm still waiting for, is 389.
So, and I see I'm out of time, and I apologize. Perhaps we could get just a definition of where all those areas are and what when the appropriations request comes in, how that will match up against
Be
those.
happy to follow up with you on it.
Thank you. I yield back, sir.
Thank the gentleman for that answer. Mr.